So, if you didn't know, the prices on classic war rifles just dipped for the first time in 5 years. Bulk ammo that was flirting with $1 a shot now hovers closer to 60 cents, and dealers who packed crates away during the panic are quietly peeling off the old price tags. What the hell's happening? Is the so-called golden age of military surplus collecting fading, or about to reward anyone bold enough to strike while the market's soft? In this video, we'll talk about how 2025 became the sweet spot for nabbing a $300 Mosin, a $400 Yugo Mauser, and a $600 SKS before they vanish into vaults forever. We'll look at a trench-carved German steel that some guy online purchased for under $1,000, discover which import waves are stirring across Ethiopia and Switzerland, and pick up the simple auction tricks that let you outfox last-second snipers. By the end of this, you'll know why some collectors are dumping modern plastic to chase history-soaked walnut, and why hesitating this year could mean paying double next year. Grab a mug, settle in, and let's map out the best Milsurp deals you'll regret missing if you blink. The panic buying spike of 2020 to 2022 finally cooled off, and the ripple effect is visible at every gun show table and small-time online auction. Dealers who sat on crates of war rifles during the frenzy now need cash flow, so the sticker shock that scared new collectors 2 years ago has eased. A freshly posted price chart on AmmoSeek.com shows bulk 7.62 by 54R ammo down to about 60 cents a round, its lowest point in half a decade, which means shooters can actually afford to feed old Russian steel again. That drop pulled prices on rifles chambered for the round back toward Earth. At the same time, surplus 8mm Mauser hovers just under $1 a shot, still more than pre-COVID, but far cheaper than a box of modern big-game loads and therefore not a barrier for range trips. Conversations on several enthusiast boards echo the same sentiment. The market finally feels sane. When ammo costs dip and demand steadies, owners who were waiting for a moonshot listing now accept realistic offers, and that dynamic makes 2025 the best buyer's window since 2018. Some guy on Reddit who grabbed a Mosin-Nagant for $300 at a regional show bluntly wrote, "Couldn't pass it up. Smooth action, crisp rifling. I'd have bought 5 if my wallet allowed." Comments like that, repeated across multiple threads, confirm a genuine softening rather than a single lucky score. Add the trickle of fresh imports, small lots of Ethiopian and Swiss rifles appearing every few months, and there is a perfect mix of supply, affordability, and variety. Walk the aisles of any mid-sized gun show in the Southeast or Midwest, and sooner or later you'll spot the long, hex receiver Mosin-Nagants 9130s still hovering in the low 300s. They carry 80-plus years of scrapes, but many are arsenal refurbished, with mirror bores and tight muzzle crowns. Ammo remains the cheapest full-power rifle cartridge in common production, and surplus ball prints minute of pig steel at 200 yards all day. You can snag one for just over $3, then shoot hand-sized groups with nothing more than a folded sleeping bag as a rest. That same sub-500 ceiling opens the door to Yugo M48 and Turkish M38 Mausers. The Yugoslav version, built after World War II with updated metallurgy, often shows up for $400 when the stock has honest dings, but the bolt faces look practically new. Turkish M38s run even cheaper because of rough exterior milling. Yet a thread from the Pacific Northwest detailed an early Ankara-marked rifle going for $250, still wearing its correct 29-inch barrel and sporting brilliant lands. The accuracy potential of those long barrels, combined with surplus 8mm that can be had in 50-round bandoliers, turns them into range darlings once the owner adjusts sights for modern 196 grain loads. Rounding out the tier is the occasional Czech VZ24. They sit right at the edge of the price bracket, but you can trek home with one for $475 if you show cash at closing time on Sunday. When you factor in sling, bayonet, and 2 bandoliers of ammo, the entire package still nudges under the $500 mark. Collectors love pristine stamps, but shooters care about rifling and headspace. And those metrics on a beat-up VZ24 often rival rifles costing twice as much. A couple $100 extra unlocks rifles that were once considered heirloom pieces. Semi-auto fans start with the classic SKS. Despite breathless social media claims that prices skyrocketed, data compiled in early spring shows decent examples hovering between $500 and $600, depending on stock finish and matching numbers, While Chinese and Romanian versions are creeping north, Yugoslav M59/66 carbines with grenade sights still trade hands for the low sixes, and that's before you haggle over included stripper clips. The beauty of the SKS is its diet. Bulk 7.62 by 39 sits at 45 cents a round, a steep drop from the 59-cent pandemic average. That cost difference means an afternoon of shooting eats the same cash as a single box of hunting ammunition for most modern rifles. Precision-minded buyers gravitate to the Swiss K31. The straight pull bolt, famously engineered so tightly you can hear it seal like a bank vault, lends itself to rapid fire without disturbing sight picture. A clean, unmolested K31 can be found for around $600, and it sometimes comes with a couple boxes of GP11 match ammo. Reloadable brass is pricier, yet even with $1 rounds, the rifle remains a steal once you experience its buttery cycling and two-stage trigger. British history buffs keep scanning piles for a Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark I, and perseverance still pays. Current sale data lists average used prices at $577, with cosmetically rough rifles dropping closer to the low fives. The No. 4's 10-round magazine and lightning-quick cock-on-closing action make it the fastest repeater in the surplus aisle. Even battered stocks rarely hide throat erosion. Wartime chrome bores shrug off decades of storage. That functionality, paired with still plentiful .303 British ball, keeps Enfield squarely in the sweet spot where affordability meets shootability. Once your budget clears $800, you enter the realm of rifles that turn heads at the range. The American M1 Garand tops many lists, and while pristine CMP specials command museum money, rack-grade service rifles sit around $1,400 according to recent price-tracking aggregates. A deep-dive article comparing grades quoted rack units at $530 in the early CMP days, but market reality in 2025 says $1,500 buys a mechanically sound shooter with a genuine Springfield receiver. Clips remain inexpensive, and Greek HXP surplus ammo trickles onto secondary markets, broadening the appeal. German Kar 98K variants, particularly Russian captures with forced match parts, once spiked above $2,000 but have eased. An experienced auction hunter wrote about landing a cave-stored capture rifle, complete with trenchwear and trench art, for just under $1,000 after fees. Granted, these aren't mint, but each gouge whispers battlefield stories, and the price leaves room to buy a case of Turkish 8mm and a proper sling. The same patient strategy uncovers G43 semi-autos and even Type 99 Arisakas with intact chrysanthemums at surprisingly approachable numbers, though those sit beyond the scope of our primary deal category. Collector grade doesn't automatically mean out of reach if you accept honest service wear and mismatched bolts. Deal hunters love to speculate about the next cargo container of old steel rolling into a U.S. port. Right now, whispers focus on Ethiopia. Photographs of Mannlicher straight pulls and Austrian M95/30 carbines in Ethiopian reserve storage circulated last year, leading many to predict a fresh batch hitting importers once paperwork clears. Italy remains another wild card. Carcanos trickled in during 2019 and, according to export license chatter, modest lots may follow as Arsenal's free warehouse space. Those rifles lack glamour, so they often sit undervalued until shooters recall their surprisingly strong receivers and cheap clip system. Switzerland continues to drip-feed K31s as private owners cash out estates, and while quantities are modest, each new pallet cools prices on existing stock. Collectors who bought at the 2022 peak sometimes grudgingly offload duplicates to fund other projects, and that secondary flow benefits new buyers. The wild card is regulation. A single executive order banning future surplus imports could truncate supply overnight. That looming risk triggers an urgency to act while the gate remains open. The first rule is to study finished auction listings, not asking prices. Completed sales reveal what rifles actually change hands for, stripping away dream numbers that linger unsold for months. For instance, many German Mausers close with a 15-second flurry, so snipers set automatic bid ceilings and walk away from emotional overbids. Watching weekday morning endings is another low-traffic tactic. Fewer eyes at 10 a.m. Eastern translates to fewer last-second snipes. Gun shows still matter, especially the second-tier regional gatherings where dusty folding tables outnumber neon tactical banners. Dealers who don't sell online often drag the same crates show to show, and polite cash offers on Sunday afternoon can shave 10% or more. Oh, and bring a headspace gauge if you plan to do some serious haggling. Slipping it into the chamber while chatting shows you're serious. And a rifle that passes gives you leverage to point at cosmetic wear and ask for a better number. Estate sales offer yet another avenue. The trick here is networking with local auctioneers who handle farm liquidations and veterans collections. Many heirs want a quick lump sum, so mixed lots of long guns sometimes include a Cherry K31 or Lee Enfield hidden between department store deer rifles. Attending preview days lets you pull bolts, shine a light down the bore, and verify serials before bidding. Condition checks keep heartbreak at bay. With Mausers, ensure locking lugs seat fully and rear tangs aren't cracked. On Enfields, focus on wrist repairs and draws. A hairline split under the charger bridge can signify deeper stock stress. Mosins rarely suffer catastrophic failures, yet counterboard barrels may wipe a third off the value. Any rifle drilled for scope mounts without a matching optic slides from collectible to shooter grade instantly, which can be good news for those who plan to shoot, since the discount frees budget for ammunition. Ammo bundling is an underrated tactic. Sellers often list a rifle with one can of ammo. That sealed spam alone can be worth $100 on the open market, so factor it into negotiations. Loading up now saves money later. 8mm and .303 are plentiful today, but supply relies on aging stockpiles. The same pattern played out in 7.62 by 54R when old Soviet crates dried up and prices doubled almost overnight. Savvy buyers remember that lesson. Every generation of shooters says, "I remember when these were cheap." The cycle feels endless. $200 Garands in the 80s, $75 Mosins during the Y2K scare, SKS crates at pawn shops for less than a case of beer. Those days always look better in the rearview mirror. A friend of mine who passed on a $600 SKS in 2020 now admits he'd gladly pay that price today after watching comparable rifles crest $850 at local shops. History is clear. Surplus rifles only move one direction once they vanish from the import pipeline. Some will double quickly, others crawl upward, but none reverse long-term. The real magic of Milsurps isn't resale value. It's the chance to own firing artifacts that shaped world events. Slinging a Lee Enfield and cycling 10 rounds faster than your buddy manages 5 from his hunting rifle connects you to the trenches of Normandy. Touching off a 60-year-old corrosive ball through a captured Kar-98K lets you smell ancient powder and imagine the hands that once gripped the same walnut. These experiences cost less than many modern entry-level rifles, yet offer infinite conversation fodder and tangible pieces of history for your safe. So, take advantage of this window. Do your research, inspect twice, negotiate respectfully, then take that warhorse to the range and run a few chargers through it before the next panic wipes reasonable prices off the map. Your future self will thank you when he tries to explain to a new shooter how you once bought a functioning piece of 20th century history for less than the price of a polymer pistol. And that's it for this video. Which old warhorse tops your 2025 wish list? Have you seen any jaw-dropping prices at gun shows or auctions? Drop those stories below, then smash like, share this video with the crew, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another chance to snag history for pocket change. Thanks for watching.